You think you're a smart packer, right? Every item folded with military precision, every zipper perfectly aligned. But here's the truth TSA agents won't say out loud. They can spot your mistakes before your bag even touches the conveyor belt. And those so called random searches, they're not random at all. Welcome back to Avoid Flight Bans, the channel that uncovers the secrets airports hope you never find out. A few months ago, at a travel conference in Orlando, I ran into a retired TSA supervisor. She leaned in, smiled like she was about to confess a state secret, and said, "We can spot problem bags before they even hit the belt." That sentence stuck with me, because once you understand what triggers a red flag, you realize most random inspections are completely predictable and completely avoidable. So today, I'm walking you through the 10 biggest packing mistakes that instantly mark you as an amateur traveler, and the simple insider habits that'll make TSA treat you like a pro. Stick around because number 6 involves a hairstyle that got my wife physically searched at security. And trust me, that story is every bit as ridiculous as it sounds. Let's start with the first mistake, and it's one that almost everyone, even seasoned travelers, still makes. Mistake 10. Overpacked bags are a red flag. There's a certain pride in cramming everything into one bag, like you're playing an elite round of packing Tetris. Every square inch filled, every shirt squeezed. You zip it shut with the force of 1,000 hopes and think, perfect. But to TSA, that bag is a giant red flag. Here's why. When your carry-on is packed tighter than a brick, X-ray scanners can't distinguish one object from another. Everything blends together into one solid, suspicious mass. To the machine, it looks like you're hiding something. And in TSA language, that's what they call an opacity issue. Their $1 million scanners suddenly become useless. I learned this the hard way flying out of Atlanta. My wife's bag was so overstuffed it practically groaned when she set it down. At the bottom sat a harmless cluster of bobby pins, but on the screen that small metallic bundle looked like a potential threat. The agent paused, frowned, and within seconds our bag was pulled for full inspection. 20 minutes later, every single item, socks, sweaters, souvenirs, was spread across the inspection table like we were having a garage sale at gate 34. We barely made our flight. So here's the hidden rule. TSA doesn't fear what they can see. They fear what they can't. And when your belongings are pressed together like a solid block of mystery, you've just earned yourself a hand search. The smart move is to pack like you're building layers of visibility, not stuffing a turkey. Leave at least 20% of your bag empty. A little breathing room gives both your clothes and the scanners space to function. Think of it as kindness to your luggage and mercy to yourself. Mistake 9, the jewelry trap. You'd never think your jewelry box could cause a national security moment until it does. I've seen travelers walk into airports wearing grace and confidence, only to end up red-faced while an officer untangles their necklaces like fishing line. And the reason is more technical than you might imagine. On an X-ray monitor, Tangled jewelry creates what TSA calls spaghetti masses, dense metallic blobs that look eerily similar to detonator wires or weapon components. The machine doesn't see your grandmother's pearls or your favorite gold chain. It just sees a cluster of suspicious metal. Suddenly, that little pouch of tangled beauty becomes a full-blown mystery that must be solved. I once watched a woman at LAX burst into tears as a TSA agent carefully pulled apart her jewelry piece by piece in front of hundreds of impatient travelers. Her engagement ring slipped from the pile, rolled off the table, and the collective gasp from the line said it all. This wasn't just inspection, it was humiliation. The fix, though simple, feels almost too obvious. The key is separation and clarity. Each necklace should lie straight, not looped, not hugging another piece of metal. Thread it through a straw or slip it into a tiny pouch. Store rings and earrings in something small but organized. Even a pill case works perfectly. For watches or bracelets, cushion them gently in soft fabric, not thrown together in a tangle of chains. And before you zip your bag, take a quick photo of how you packed them. If an agent opens your case, you'll know exactly what belongs where. TSA isn't out to ruin your day, but their scanners are trained to question confusion. And in the world of airport security, a simple knot of jewelry looks a lot like chaos, and chaos always gets searched. Mistake 8. Tangled tech trouble. Every traveler has done it. That last-minute grab of phone chargers, earbuds, laptop cables, all tossed together in a single pouch that jingles like a nest of electric snakes. You zip it up thinking, at least I didn't forget anything. But to a TSA scanner, you've just built a puzzle they hate solving. When cables overlap, twist, and layer on top of each other, they create something agents call shadow clusters. The X-ray can't see what's underneath because those overlapping wires distort the image, forming dark, uneven shapes that could easily hide something forbidden. Add to that the fact that different cables, USB-C, Lightning, old-school power adapters, all have different densities, and you've created what looks like a homemade device. I once watched a businessman at Denver International, perfectly dressed in a crisp navy suit, stand helplessly as TSA pulled out handful after handful of tangled cables from his bag. His face said it all, disbelief mixed with dread, as the agent neatly separated every wire, inspecting each one as if it might start ticking. 15 minutes later, his flight had boarded without him. The solution isn't glamorous, but it's powerful. Standardize your setup. If possible, use one charger type for all devices. Wrap each cable individually with a small Velcro tie and never lump them together. Keep them in a transparent electronics pouch and place it right at the top of your carry-on so TSA can instantly see what you're carrying. The clearer the view, the faster the scan. One frequent flyer told me that after switching to a labeled cable organizer with separate pockets, his security checks dropped from 15 minutes to 2, and one TSA officer actually thanked him for making their job easier. That's the level of organization that makes you look like a professional traveler, not a security risk. Mistake 7. Liquid rules gone wild. You'd think by now everyone knows the 3-1-1 rule. 3.4 ounces, 1 quart-size bag, 1 per person. Simple math, right? But the real trap isn't the number. It's how TSA defines a liquid. Their rulebook could make a scientist cry. Here's what shocks even frequent flyers. Certain solids, yes, solids, are treated as liquids. That bar of fancy soap from Portugal? Confiscated because it's too malleable. Those tins of sardines? Gone because the oil inside exceeds the limit. Even peanut butter, honey, cream cheese, and jam, they all fall under liquid restrictions. TSA agents don't care that your jar is half empty. If the container can hold more than 3.4 ounces, it's out. I once met a traveler at Boston Logan who lost $50 worth of maple syrup because the bottle was just a fraction over the limit. Another woman had her luxury face cream tossed right into the bin. And no, arguing doesn't help. TSA has zero flexibility here. It gets worse. Snow globes count as liquids. So do gel shoe inserts, some candles, even frozen items that are partially melted. You might think that makes no sense, and you'd be right. But the machine can't tell the difference between a melted gel pack and an explosive compound. So what can you do? Start by keeping anything remotely questionable in a separate, easy-to-reach pouch near the top of your bag. If an officer wants to check, they won't have to dig through your clothes. And when you're traveling internationally, ask the question that most people forget. Are there any liquid restrictions for my destination? Some countries, like Japan, have their own rules that make TSA look lenient. A veteran business traveler once told me he carries a printed copy of the TSA's official liquid list. He's shown it to agents 3 times and saved hundreds of dollars in confiscated items. Knowledge is your best defense here, because in the eyes of airport security, maple syrup, shampoo, and nitroglycerin all look exactly the same. Mistake 6. The hairstyle meltdown. Some mistakes you can laugh about later, others you'll never forget. This one falls squarely in the second category. It happened during the height of the sock bun craze, when every traveler, including my wife, wore that neatly coiled hairstyle that looks like a cinnamon roll. We were flying out of Phoenix, everything going smoothly, until she stepped into the body scanner. Then came the alarm, a bright orange mark pulsing right on her head. The officer frowned, leaned forward, and said the words no one expects to hear at security. "Ma'am, there's an anomaly in your hair." Within seconds, a female agent was called over, politely explaining that she needed to pat down the bun. My wife's face turned scarlet as the agent began pressing and squeezing the back of her head like she was checking for hidden treasure. I was biting my tongue, trying not to laugh, but the TSA agent looked just as embarrassed. It was absurd. But this wasn't just a one-time humiliation. The scanners themselves are the problem. They use millimeter wave technology that struggles with dense materials, anything layered or compact, like thick wool, leather jackets, or yes, hairstyles stuffed with clips and pins. To the machine, it all looks like one solid mass that could be hiding something. And when the computer can't identify it, you become a human question mark. It's not just buns, either. Underwire bras, metal belt buckles, cargo pants with deep pockets, even boots with steel shanks can trigger extra screening. One TSA insider once told me that the key to a smooth checkpoint is to dress like you're going for a medical exam. Simple layers, nothing bulky, and shoes that slip off easily. When I asked him what kind of traveler sails through fastest, he didn't hesitate. Yoga pants, a t-shirt, and sneakers, he said. That's the uniform of someone who's mastered airport security. So, if you'd rather not have your hairstyle investigated in public, leave the metal and layers behind. TSA doesn't care about fashion. They care about visibility. And if they can see right through you, you're already winning. Mistake 5. Buried electronics chaos. If you've ever stood behind that one traveler digging through their bag like they're on an archaeological dig, you already know this mistake. The bins are rolling, people are sighing, and they're elbow deep in shirts trying to fish out a laptop. You watch helpless as minutes evaporate. But embarrassment isn't the real cost. Security time is. Buried electronics are one of the fastest ways to get your bag flagged. TSA scanners hate mystery, and nothing looks more suspicious than a solid black square buried under layers of clothing. That's what a lithium battery looks like on their screen. A dense, dark block that hides whatever's beneath it. When it's surrounded by socks and sweaters, the scanner can't separate the objects. The result? Your bag gets pulled, unzipped, and examined inch by inch. I once saw a man at Dallas-Fort Worth sprint back to security barefoot because he'd left his MacBook behind in a bin. $2,000 worth of tech, sitting there while he was already halfway to his gate. The look on his face said everything: panic, regret, and the realization that rushing never saves you time. Here's what seasoned travelers know instinctively: accessibility is your ally. Your electronics should live at the very top of your bag, not buried beneath a week's worth of clothes. Pack them flat, facing the same direction. And if you fly often, invest in a checkpoint-friendly bag, the kind that unzips and folds open like a book. TSA can scan your laptop in place without removing it, and you move on while others are still fumbling with cords. Think of it like layering your luggage for visibility. Laptop first, liquids next, everything else after. That simple order turns chaos into rhythm. And trust me, it's better to unpack with intention than to repack under pressure while a line of strangers watches you sweat. Mistake 4. The wrong bag curse. Most travelers pick their carry-on the same way they pick a t-shirt. Whatever's lying around, whatever looks decent. But the bag you choose determines your entire security experience, and it's the one decision airlines never warn you about. Why would they? A disorganized traveler buys more overpriced gear at the terminal. Here's what the pros know. The design of your bag directly affects how clearly TSA can see what's inside. Cheap, bulky luggage with poor structure causes overlapping layers that confuse the scanner. The screen shows a jumbled blur. Clothes pressed against cables, pressed against toiletries. And the more overlap the system detects, the more likely an officer will pull your bag. Contrast that with a traveler who uses a well-designed checkpoint-friendly bag, the kind that opens flat like a book with a clear compartment for electronics and separate zip sections for liquids and clothing. That kind of bag gives the scanner a full, clean view in seconds. I've timed it myself. Organized luggage clears security in under 3 minutes. A cluttered one can take 15. A road warrior executive once told me, I thought spending $200 on a laptop backpack was insane until I realized it was saving me hours of my life. He calculated the time difference. 10 minutes saved per flight, 100 flights per year. That bag paid for itself before summer ended. TSA officers actually appreciate travelers who make their jobs easier. When they can see every item clearly, no overlap, no dark zones, your bag slides through untouched. But when they're staring at a chaotic blur of shoes, wires, and fabrics, it's only a matter of time before the latex gloves come out. Your bag isn't just storage. It's a silent conversation with the scanner. Speak clearly, and you walk right through. Mumble, and they'll unpack your entire life for you. Mistake 3. The gift wrap disaster. There's something heartbreaking about it. Standing in line, watching an officer unwrap the gift you spent hours perfecting, tearing through ribbons and glossy paper under the cold fluorescent lights. TSA isn't being cruel. They're following orders. But to travelers who don't know the rule, it feels personal. Here's the simple, painful truth. Wrapped presents are unscannable. Those layers of shiny paper, bows, and tape create opacity, a fancy word for the scanner can't see through it. Metallic paper makes it even worse. To the X-ray, that beautifully wrapped box might as well be a block of lead. And when TSA can't see what's inside, they have no choice but to unwrap it right there, in front of everyone. I once watched a grandmother at Chicago O'Hare standing silently as an agent unwrapped her carefully packed Christmas ornaments. Each one sentimental, each one delicate. They ended up laid out across a plastic inspection table while she blinked back tears. The crowd was quiet, and the officer looked like he hated his job in that moment. But policy is policy. The fix isn't to give up on giving. It's to outsmart the system. Pack your gifts unwrapped and carry your wrapping materials separately. Use transparent bags or clear cellophane so agents can see what's inside without ruining the surprise. Gift bags are a secret weapon. They can be opened and peeked into easily. No scissors required. Some travelers even ship their gifts directly to their destination or use online stores that offer pre-wrapping. It's smarter, faster, and saves you from heartbreak at the checkpoint. And if you're traveling internationally, there's another layer of danger most people forget: customs. A wrapped item can trigger inspection there too, and if it's electronics or anything valuable, customs may tax it at full retail price, not the sale you got online. One traveler learned that the hard way when a wrapped camera cost him nearly $200 extra at the border. At the airport, there's no room for mystery, even when it's wrapped in kindness. Mistake 2. The food that gets you flagged. Every traveler thinks bringing their own snacks is smart. It saves money, saves time, and spares you from airport food that tastes like cardboard. But what most people don't realize is that some foods, perfectly normal at home, look terrifying under an X-ray. And that's how you end up with an officer holding your hummus like it's radioactive. Here's what happens. The scanners see by density. Dense foods, the kind that don't let light or waves pass through easily, show up as dark, opaque blobs. And that's the exact signature TSA trains their eyes to spot for potential explosives. Foods like peanut butter, hummus, yogurt, or even thick cheese spreads trigger automatic rescans. And then come the layered foods, sandwiches stacked with meats, cheese, and condiments. Every layer reads differently, creating a chaotic pattern the system flags as anomaly detected. It gets worse when you're creative. A traveler once tried to bring homemade lasagna wrapped in foil. On the monitor, it looked like a compact metal slab surrounded by unidentifiable shapes. That slab cost him 15 minutes and an awkward public unwrapping that looked more like surgery than lunch. The rule of thumb is simple. If you can't see through it, neither can the scanner. Always pack your food in a clear bag and keep it near the top of your carry-on. Separate wet items like dressings or dips into travel size containers that meet liquid limits, 3.4 ounces max. Keep dry snacks apart from anything creamy or thick. And here's the part airlines don't advertise. International rules are far stricter. That apple you forgot in your backpack after a flight, it could cost you up to $500 in fines at customs. Fresh fruit, vegetables, and meat are banned in many countries, even if they were served on the plane. Always declare or discard. It might sound harsh, but TSA scanners aren't trained for nuance. They don't see grandma's homemade jam. They see dense, organic material. So before you pack your picnic, ask yourself, do you really want your lunch to become a case study at security? Mistake 1. Too many bags syndrome. It's the scene that plays out 1,000 times a day. A traveler juggling bags like a circus act while the line behind them grows restless. A roller bag in one hand, a backpack digging into their shoulders, a purse across their chest, a laptop case dangling from an elbow, maybe even a coffee balanced on top. Then comes the sigh from the officer. You already know what's coming. This is the moment TSA dreads. Multiple bags mean multiple bins, multiple scans, and multiple opportunities for something to go wrong. It doesn't matter how many carry-ons your airline technically allows. If your things don't fit in the bins, you're slowing everyone down. The agents don't care about airline policy, they care about the security line moving smoothly. And nothing derails that rhythm faster than one traveler exploding across 5 trays. It's not just inefficiency. Each additional bag increases the chance of overlap on the scanner. Electronics layered with toiletries, liquids mixed with clothes, a recipe for rescans and inspections. I once saw a woman at Newark balancing a purse, a tote, and 2 duty-free bags. By the time she reached the scanner, she'd dropped her boarding pass, lost track of her wallet, and accidentally left a shopping bag full of cosmetics behind. Her flight left on time. She didn't. The fix isn't just to bring less, it's to pack smarter. Most airlines allow 1 carry-on and 1 personal item. Treat that as sacred. Choose bags that can attach or nest together so 2 pieces move as one. A compact backpack clipped to a roller handle doesn't just look sleek, it counts as 1 unit in the eyes of the gate agent and makes you look like someone who knows what they're doing. Before security, consolidate everything. Slip small items into larger ones, wear your bulkier layers, and keep your essentials where you can reach them. A frequent flyer once told me, I used to travel with 3 bags, now I fit a week's worth in 1. My security time dropped by 75%. It's not magic, it's logic. When your luggage moves as one, so do you. Different airports play by different rules, and that's what most travelers miss. What flies at laid-back Los Angeles might get you stopped at strict Newark. Paris's Charles de Gaulle is infamous for random checks. I know someone whose electric beard trimmer triggered a full inspection there, even though he'd carried it through dozens of airports before. Same traveler, same trimmer, totally different outcome. That's the ultimate lesson. Be patient, be adaptable. Security isn't static. It changes with threat levels, staff shifts, holidays, even time of day. Monday mornings are stricter than Saturday afternoons. Morning crews often double-check. Evening ones might wave you through. It's not about luck. It's about awareness. In the end, every random check has a reason, and now you know 10 of them. So here's the truth nobody tells you. Most TSA trouble isn't bad luck. It's behavior. Every overstuffed bag, tangled cable, or forgotten item sends a signal, not of guilt, but of uncertainty. And uncertainty is what triggers inspection. Once you start packing with their perspective in mind, everything changes. You stop rushing. You start organizing, and suddenly the system works for you, not against you. These 10 mistakes aren't just about saving time at security. They're about reclaiming control over your travel experience. No one wants to start a trip flustered, barefoot on a cold floor while strangers sift through your belongings. The irony is, every VIP traveler you've ever seen breezing through the checkpoint isn't privileged. They're just prepared. They pack with precision, they dress with intention, they move with confidence. So before your next flight, do a mental scan of your own luggage habits. Are you cramming too tight? Mixing your cables? Forgetting the liquid rule? Maybe your jewelry's a mess or your outfit's built like a shield. Whatever it is, fix it now, before the scanners and latex gloves do it for you. And one last secret. TSA officers notice travelers who make their jobs easier. The organized ones, the calm ones, the ones who treat security as a shared goal rather than an obstacle. Those are the people who glide through while everyone else unpacks their chaos. If this video saved you even one TSA headache, share it with a friend who's always the reason you're late for boarding. You know the one. Hit like, subscribe for more insider airport truths, and drop your own travel horror story in the comments below. The weirdest ones might just make it into our next episode, because travel should make you feel free, not flagged.